Welcome back to CSEC English Made Easy, 30 days of grammar, and this week we're going to be looking at commas. Yes, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you were able to rest, relax, and let us head into today's lesson. And once again, our usual routine. Now, as always, the first thing we're going to look at is what is a comma. Now, a comma is one of those punctuation marks that you use it because you know how to use it, or you leave it alone because you're not sure where to put it. And as I've said, in high school I was the latter. So this week I want to take our time and go through the different uses of the commas and look at how do we punctuate sentences with commas so that we can effect the meaning that we want to convey in the sentence that we're writing. And so that is the overall objective for this week. The objective for this lesson, however, is to tell you what is a comma, to go through and explain one comma rule, and then, as always, you will go to the blog and you will do the worksheet or the questions that are given, and then we will come back tomorrow and you will see the answer. All right, so without further ado, let me get into the lesson. Now, as I said before, a comma is a punctuation mark and it is used for indicating a division in a sentence. In some cases, it also indicates a slight pause. Now, along with indicating a slight pause, it also can be used to indicate meaning or convey a variety of meaning based on the sentence we're using. So we use a comma to separate words in a series, phrases, clauses. We also use a comma when I say words in a series, I'm talking about listing items or items in a list. Also, it can be used when we're talking about numbers in terms of indicating thousands, millions, all of those things. And so that is basically the use of a comma. Now, we're going to look at one rule that I think everyone has a basic understanding of this rule, and we're talking about using a comma when we're using a series of words, or when we have a series of words or words in a series or a list in a sentence. And so we use a comma to separate each item so that you can distinguish each. And so when you're reading, you're not just calling words, but you're seeing each item separately. Now, remember that when we say a comma is used to separate items in a list, when we talk about items, we also talk about these item can refer to a noun, a verb, or an adjective phrase. So bear that in mind as we go on. Now, an example that we have, my estate goes to my husband, son, daughter-in-law, and nephew. And we have the example twice. However, there is a difference in each example. So the question I want to ask you, can you identify the difference between both examples? What is it that is different? Yes, I'm giving you less than a second. And if you said a comma is in the first example, whereas a comma is not in the second example, you would be absolutely correct. Now, today we're going to start by looking or trying to answer the age-old question, when do I put a comma after and or before and, rather before and? When is it appropriate? Because in some textbooks you see it, in others you don't. As I said, today's lesson we're going to start by identifying the what the use of this comma is. Now, when we put a comma before and, this is often referred to as an Oxford comma. Now, what do we mean by an Oxford comma? And it says that when the last comma in the series, as we saw before in the first example, is placed before the and, or if it's an or, this is called an Oxford comma. And it was named an Oxford comma because most newspaper and magazine drop the Oxford comma in a simple series, apparently feeling it's unnecessary. However, omission of the Sorry guys, I went blank just now. I think my audio went blank just now. Let me just repeat what I was saying. Most newspapers, so this is called an Oxford comma, and so a lot of times you see the Oxford comma being omitted because it was felt to be unnecessary. However, when we omit the Oxford comma, as seen in this example, we realize that there can be a few misunderstandings. And so let us read. We had coffee, cheese and crackers, and grapes. Now, when we look at that, we realize that crackers makes it clear and cheese and crackers represent one dish. And so when you talk about two things coming together, in order to represent that they are one, in this case, it would be more appropriate to put the comma to indicate that this is one dish. Sorry guys. And so when you would see the Oxford comma being used quite a lot when we talk about fiction and in non-fiction books. And so we are going to now, in our next lesson, go deeper into the Oxford comma. When do we use it? When do we don't use it? When is it okay not to use it? Why is it not used? And so to look at the differentiation between the uses of putting a comma before and or. Now, guys, this is it. I wanted to make today's lesson pretty short. I must apologize for the drop in the recording. And please come back tomorrow for another lesson in the series. Have a great day, a great morning, great afternoon. And if you're watching this during the World Cup, please comment below which World Cup team you are following. We might have some World Cup related examples or references in our coming lesson. So let me know. I am not following any, but you let me know. Have a great day, everybody. Great night, great morning when you see this, and bye bye.